Morning, Assalamu alaikum. This is Sama Khan from the Smart School Sir Syed Ahmad Khan Campus 1, the teacher of Grade 2. Today I am here to teach you the subject English for Grade 2 and the topic is uses of does and do. When we use it, we use do and does or is or are as question words when we want to ask question of yes or no. We use does and is with third person singular pronoun, for example, he, she, and it, and with singular noun forms. But we use do and are with other personal pronouns, you, we, they, and with plural noun forms. Uses of do, does, did, and done. When we use do and when we use does, with I, you, we, they are the pronouns with whom we use do in present form and did in past form. And with he, she, and it are the pronouns to whom we use does in present form and did in past form. But when we use did in past form, we do not need to change the pronouns at the start. We use he, she, it with did, or we use I, we, you, they with did. These are the same. But when we talked about the present form, then we use I, we, you, they with do and he, she, it with does. For example, I do exercises. This is the present form of the sentence. But we change it with the third person singular. We use does. He does exercises. When we talked about the past form, we use did with I did my homework and he did his homework. I have done many things. He has done many things. Basically, do, does, and did are the auxiliary verb to make question. We take them out before the subject. We will start our sentence with the auxiliary verb and then we write subject and then verb forms. Do I go to there? And when we talked about does she like to cook? And in past form we use did with I, you, we, they, he, she, it and the verb form. The only difference between a question in the present tense and a question in the past tense is the auxiliary verb do, does, and did. Do you speak English? Is a affirmative sentence, is a questionary sentence, and does he speak English? But in past form, these are the present form. But when we talked about the past form, then we use did before the subject. Did you speak English or did he speak English? These are the interrogative sentences. Now uses do and does as interrogative. Question with do and does. We use do or does to make a question in the simple present tense. For example, auxiliary verb do and does and then subject I, you, we, they, he, she, it and then first form of the verb. Here is an example. Affirmative sentence is you speak English, but I want to make it interrogative. Then we use auxiliary verb before the subject. Do you speak English? Same like he speak English, but we use does with third person singular. Does he speak English? When to use do, does, and did. These are the auxiliary verbs do, does, and did. Do we use with singular and present form. Does we use with plural and in present form. But when we talked about the past form, does not consider the number of the subject singular or plural. With both we use did to make a sentence. Use as positive and negative sentences. Positive words and negative words, present and future tense. For example, With whom we use do and does, don't and doesn't, and did and didn't. Do we use with I, we, you, they, and don't we use with I, we, you, they. But with third person singular we use does and doesn't in present form, present and future form. But we when talked about the past form, we use did or didn't with every pronoun. We don't need to count whether it is a singular or plural. We use did and didn't with them. For example, this is the structure of a sentence. Interrogative sentence, we are using auxiliary verb before the subject and then verb first form and then complement. For example, do you speak Spanish? Do I speak Spanish? Do we speak Spanish? Or do they speak Spanish? And when we talked about the he, she, it, does he, she, or it speak Spanish? Use do or does for negative sentence. As I told you, when we want to take negative sentence, we use don't and doesn't. Don't we use with I, we, you, they, and doesn't we use with he, she, or it. If you want to make affirmative negative sentence, then you can use subject, then auxiliary verb with negative form, and then verb and complement. Same like subject, auxiliary verb with negative form, verb first form, and then complement. I hope you all are understand this topic, the uses of does and do, did and done, and don't, how to use them. Stay at home, stay safe, keep practicing, be prepared for the exams, and take good care of yourself. Thank you all.